For many years of my life, I have done sports and I've been into hobbies. And I really feel at this point, it has literally taken 15, 20 years of my life and just thrown it down the drain. I was so dedicated to my hobbies that it was all that I wanted to do. And maybe some of you have been in my shoes to where all you wanted to do was your sport or your hobby. You didn't really care about anything else. It wasn't even about doing it with your friends so much as it was about you becoming the best you possibly could at your sport or your hobby. Now, I was into soccer and track when I was in high school, but not like how I was into skateboarding and snowboarding and extreme sports. I just loved those things. I loved them, in fact, more than God. And I remember as a kid being convicted by it, but it just consumed me. I had this dream last night of, well, actually, it was people that were scuba diving, with scuba diving gear. And I saw people kind of in a line of time. And the first people I saw were people who were not very dedicated to their hobby. It was just people who were first trying it out. And they would go into the ocean and they would experience what it was like and they would enjoy it and they would come out and they'd be fine. And then progressively, people got more and more serious until I saw professionals. And at the very end of the line, I saw the people go into the ocean, and the professional that was really into his hobby, he went in and there came up behind him a giant black snake. And it ate him alive. And that was the end of my dream. What this reminded me of is how I gave my life to sports or hobbies. And it consumed my life for 15, 20 years. That's all I could think about, is how I would become better at my sport or my hobby. I didn't do it for Jesus. Maybe I did it to impress others. Maybe I did it because I was becoming my own God. Maybe I wanted others to see how great I was. Whatever reason I was doing it was the wrong reason. It wasn't to follow the commandments of Jesus. We know that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord our God, not to love a sport or a hobby. It's to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our mind, and all of our strength. That is what needs to consume us. We need to live and breathe. We need to sweat. We need to bleed for the truth of Jesus Christ, his gospel, not a sport or a hobby. We need to love our neighbor as ourselves. This is the greatest commandment. And if we're not keeping this commandment, we are nothing in the kingdom of God. I wasted 15, 20 years of my life due to sports, and I never want to make that mistake ever again. We need to be surrendered to Jesus Christ and his gospel. We're living in serious times. And if we are not serious about following Jesus, we're going to be destroyed by the enemy, the serpent. Don't let sports and hobbies destroy your life. It almost destroyed my life. Now, what I'm not saying is that we can't have fun with friends or family. There's nothing wrong with kicking a soccer ball around with friends or throwing a football around with friends or going out and enjoying nature, climbing a mountain or riding a bike. There's nothing wrong with those things. If we're seeking first the kingdom of God and doing everything for his good purpose, then we're in his goodwill. We're seeking him first. We're loving our God and we're loving others as ourselves. But the problem is, when people love other things more than they love God, even if they say, well, I'm putting God first, I'm doing it with friends, so obviously it's for God's kingdom, we can easily deceive ourselves into thinking that we're doing sports and hobbies and all this stuff for the kingdom of God when it's absolute vanity and we're making ourselves our own God, our own idol. We need to make sure that we truly are seeking the kingdom of God first, and that whatever we do with family members or friends, that it's truly holy and the righteousness that God requires. I hope this encourages someone to put Jesus Christ first, but doesn't condemn a brother or a sister from having fun with their family, as God has given it to us to have fun with each other when we're right with Him. Not worldly fun, but just genuine love for one another. When we're with one another and when we are in the love of God, we do have fun with one another, but not worldly fun. I hope this makes sense to someone, and I hope it encourages someone to seek the righteousness God requires first, and not just worldly sports and hobbies, not just worldly things, but that it actually encourages someone to seek first the righteousness of God.